Okay, perhaps this time we don't try to force mono red just to see if that works. Oh, they put Time Warp in this cube for some reason. Wow, there's a lot of good blue cards here, but we're absolutely 1,000,000,000% taking Time Warp. Toralf's Disciple would have been nice. There are a lot of good mono red cards in this pack. But as much as I'd love to take Discover the Formula or Torrential Gearhulk, I'm not allowed to not take this Time Warp. Okay, so we're going to do literally everything in our power to get to copy Time Warp. That's pretty much the objective, I think. And Champion of Wits feels like it's probably a really good card. We're probably supposed to cut blue. Eternalizing this has always been very powerful. And also, I don't like any of the other cards, really, other than Explore. I guess we could take Explore, if we wanted to go into blue-green ramp. I don't think Mythos is very good unless you're Temur, and I'm not really willing to commit to that yet. Champion of Wits keeps us in monocolor. Explore is probably the card that I would most want in a deck. I think I'm willing to stick to Champion of Wits in order to remain as playable as possible. The follow-up pick is going to immediately be a green ramp spell, because I don't think I can justify Skittering Surveyor over a ramp spell. And would I rather have Fertile Footsteps or Incubation Druid in that case? I think I'd probably rather have Fertile Footsteps, but that is kind of close. I guess you can adapt Incubation Druid, can't you? That's kind of tempting. Gets us to the point where we can Eternalize Champion of Wits. Alright, I'm sold on it. Do like a Fertile Footsteps, though. Okay, this is tough. Primal Command is, like, only fine, but it's got an alternate art that I'm desperate to use. But there's an on-color dual land, which we have to take. Being responsible isn't exciting. Vintage All-Star Outland Liberator. A ramp spell that can also be a removal spell. A cantrip. I guess Consider could totally put Champion of Wits in the graveyard. Is that a reason to take it over Unstable Obelisk? Is Unstable Obelisk, like, good in any way? 8 mana removal spell. Not excited about that, but it exists. Nah, we're gonna wind up with graveyard synergies. I believe in taking Consider. We're definitely gonna find a Leer. For sure, for sure, for sure. Lifecrafter's Bestiary. Or Bestiary, I guess? There's no A in it? I'm still really confused by the fact that this doesn't have an A in it. Years later. I don't think we want to play Return of the Wild Speaker. Although, I guess if we're in blue-green ramp, I'm actually probably going to end up with some big non-human creatures. But Bestiary is probably still better, and it makes us happy to draw or draft Mana Dorks. Should probably be happy about. Finale of Devastation. First Hero in Games is probably better than Finale of Devastation, but I'm very tempted by Finale of Devastation. I don't even know if it's spelt wrong. I think Bestiary might actually be a word. I'm just confused by the fact that the word is spelt that way. We're going to take First Hero in Games, and I'm not going to be too excited about it. This is a good card. It's just like the least good card almost 100% of the time. Alright, we get to take our on-color land again. It's like the D&D books. I'm willing to bet the word bestiary is probably older than that, although I don't know how much. Middle Ages. Okay, that makes sense. Spelling didn't exist back then. It's pronounced bestiary. Ch instead of T, huh? It's a combo with Incubation Druid. Oh, that's true. Incubation Druid doesn't need to have actually adapted, it just needs a +1/+1 counter on it. Less of a combo in the sense that if you put the 3 counters on the Incubation Druid, you aren't immediately drawing the 2 cards next turn. But you do have access to like 7 mana on turn 4, and that bit's probably good. And maybe you can find a 4-drop to play at that point. Okay, well, we can play Zagoth Triome in case we want to splash black. I'm into it. Gotta play Mana Tithe even though we're in blue. Well, sometimes Mana Tithe. Sometimes still gets there. Wow, we wield the Explorer! Sweet. We can also play Scavenging Ooze, but mostly I want to play Explorer. Well, of these, Sword of Valerian is the only card that we even sort of want to play. So we can play Garrick's Uprising and just draft big creatures from now on. That's an option. We could also go Temur and play Rada for card advantage. So I'm going to take the Temur card. Is Field of the Dead actually in this cube? Drafting enough lands to make that function sounds like a nightmare. Alright, Domri is technically a Temur card. It is in fact in the current cube. Lovely. Alright. Oh, you're telling me I could have a Sword of Body and Mind in Limited? That's allowed? So Domri is ramp, but currently I have nothing to ramp into, and I'm not even actually convinced I can make the fixing work. So it's a card we will end up considering, but not just yet. I think I have to take Body and Mind. Body and Mind is busted. Like, silly busted. Super silly busted. We have a 3-drop ramp spell. We have a Karuga, I guess, which we won't be able to play as a companion. We could go real wide with Tendershoot Dryad. I think Tendershoot might be the most tempting here. There is Spring to Mind, which is in our colors. It's card draw and ramp. And something that we can mill to consider. Yeah, Spring probably wheels. I'm willing to believe that. Not a lot of good cards in this pack, unfortunately, so I think we will take Tendershoot Dryad. Ooh, but here we have many good cards. We have Counterspell, Midnight Clock, and Escape to the Wilds, all of which are stellar. I don't think we're super into Counterspell, because we're not looking like an instant speed deck. Midnight Clock and Escape to the Wilds are both excellent. Midnight Clock, I think we have a slightly higher chance of playing. I think Midnight Clock is slightly stronger in this kind of a deck than Escape to the Wilds. Oh yeah, Midnight Clock in Limited is excellent because of how often you actually end up drawing 7 off of it. It's more constructed where it's usually too slow to matter. Okay, we have Timeless Witness to get back our Time Walk, which seems like a flavor win, and will 100% have to be the pick. Plus, we could totally, like, Midnight Clock, Shuffle Time Warp back into our deck, right? Okay. Definitely Timeless Witness. Definitely, definitely. And here we have... I don't think... Oh, this is the modified version of Alrund's Epiphany. That's kind of silly. Why would they use the nerfed version in a format with Time Warp? I don't know about that one. Volo is probably the correct pick. No, it's not. Because human and wizard don't work because it's a human wizard. Okay. Right. That's how it works. I don't really like any of these cards. I guess like Ashiok and Jace can both technically mill our opponent to synergize with Sword of Body and Mind, but in a situation where we have Sword of Body and Mind in play, I don't actually believe we care. I guess it's limited, right? That makes Ashiok good. Here we have a couple of interesting options. There's Hiveheart Shaman, which is a ramp spell of sorts. So is Rishkar. Wait, Rishkar plus Incubation Druid has to be busted enough that that's the pick, right? It's just better than Hiveheart Shaman. I feel like I have to believe that. I'm not sure I love Wayward Swordtooth, although it is good with Rada. Because we don't really have enough card draw to play it, and we have way too many 3-drops. I think I'm into Spectral Sailor. It gives us another creature that we can put a Sword of Body and Mind onto, and gives us a mana sink. I'm willing to play Cultivate, sure. Am I willing to play Spring to Mind with this many 3-drops? My deck is basically mono 3-drops. Karuga is getting to the point where it's almost a good idea. I think I'm actually more into Karuga here. I'll play Escape to the Wilds if our mana fixing ever gets there. Currently isn't there, but might be eventually. Magma Quake we could only ever fix with Incubation Druid. So, Prophetic Titan, however. There's a possibility Prophetic Titan winds up being good. There's definitely a possibility Folio Fancies makes it into this blue-green mill deck. I don't know that my fixing is going to enable a Seeka, but we'll keep that in there for now. Oh, that is a Mizzix's Mastery for our Time Warp, huh? But there's also... I'm never going to be able to fix the triple red for Mizzix's Mastery, so I don't think that it actually manages to get there. I think I'm supposed to take Tangled Florahedron because we have so many payoffs, including Sword of Body and Mind for creatures and mana rocks. Yeah. That's disappointing, but probably correct. We have Helena and Elena, or we just have Elder Gargaroth. Considering the amount of 3-drop mana acceleration I have right now, I feel like I'm probably just supposed to take Elder Gargaroth. Is Prismari Command good in this format? Artifact Destruction is pretty good, although, how many opponents have answers to Platinum Angel? That's kind of interesting. On the other hand, Gilded Goose is another good way to hold a sort of body in mind, which probably makes it more correct than Platinum Angel. Also, we're trying to fix for 3 colors, so I think we have to take the 3-color Mana Dork. I could take a Thragtusk or a Dryad Ruin Seeker. Currently, I'm already nearly good on playables, though. I need to cut 3 cards from my deck, which probably won't be too hard. But I think I should probably take Mana Fixing at this point. I think that's the most important thing that I can take. We could totally try to splash Approach of the Second Sun. Self-mill also technically good with Approach of the Second Sun, sometimes. It's also Rishkar's Expertise. Is that good? It's not bad. It's interesting. How do we like Cultivator's Caravan? I don't know that I would be likely to play Cultivator's Caravan. I'm not sure that I'm actually going to play Rishkar's Expertise either, but it's interesting. Toski's very interesting, but how likely am I to just cut the red cards and play blue-green? That is an option. I don't know if it's a good option or if it's a bad option, but it is an option. And in that case, Toski would be interesting. I don't think Toski is a huge improvement to the deck, though, so I'm willing to take the fixing just in case. I don't think that it's correct for us to take an Ulamog and play it, but we're going to do that. Settle the Wilds with a single 4-drop is interesting, because it does mean that a turn 3 Settle the Wilds is guaranteed to find us a Timeless Witness, which we do really want to have happen. Oh, or... okay, no, we got Settle the Wilds. Sweet. I think we just keep taking the lands. I kind of want to play red now that we have Ulamog to reward Escape to the Wilds. And Helena, probably worth playing. Okay. Well, we could play. We're going to have to make a lot of cuts. There's going to be definitely a deck construction portion to this draft. We like this deck more than the mono red deck. It's definitely a very different type of deck that's probably going to be more entertaining, huh? I don't know if it's inherently better, but it's definitely going to be more of my style of fun. Okay. So what does this deck construction look like? For starters, let's put all the land in the board. I think we want to play 18 lands with Tangled Forager. So that means I need 8 cuts. Sword of Valerian seems easy enough. First Row in Games seems easy enough. The rest of this I don't know. Dryad Green Seeker's probably worth playing. Consider's probably not. Can we get away with cutting Tendershoot Dryad at this point? Do we even want to? How many 3-drop permanents do we have? Rada, Sword, Sika, Rishkar, Bestiary, Midnight Clock, Champion of Wits, Kruga. Is any permanent with mana value 3 or greater? And I still need, what, 5 cuts? Prophetic Titan is a cut? Okay, I believe that. I believe that. Bestiary can probably get cut. Is Essica an easy cut? Is Champion of Wits an easy cut? Is Tendershoot better than Karuga? Certainly gums up the ground pretty fast. I'm willing to believe Spectral Sailor isn't good enough, even if it does have synergy with Sword of Body and Mind. Body and Mind is sort of more of a 5-drop in a sense. Leaves us with 2 more cuts. Is Alrund's Epiphany actually playable? Given that it's the nerfed version? The answer might be no. Rada's a possibility as a cut, but it is also card advantage. Time Walks aren't necessarily good when they cost too much mana, though. And 7 mana to Time Walk, or 9 mana to Time Walk and make 2 birds, is a lot of mana. The engines we have to reward Epiphany currently are Elder Gargaroth, Helena and Elena, Sword of Body and Mind, Ashiok, Rada, Midnight Clock, Green Seeker. Ulamog might be a correct cut, but that's not a cut we're going to consider. I am willing to believe in cutting Champion of Wits and Alrund's Epiphany. I am willing to make those cuts. And then we will put in our mana fixing. I'll accept Ulamog in every opening hand, but part of the appeal of cutting Epiphany is that we don't have to worry about having Epiphany in our opening hand. Okay, deck. What is our basic situation? We have 3 blue-green duels and 3 green-red duels. I have a double blue card that I don't need to play on turn 2, but I would like to. I have a lot more green, but I've got 6 green sources already from my dual lands. I'm willing to believe something like 4 forests. Four islands, 2 mountains, maybe another forest. Probably another forest. Oh, Set of the Wilds grabs a random basic? That's kind of bad. I guess we have Cultivate, though, and As long as we got green mana, we're probably okay. I'm gonna hope this is enough blue sources. It might not be. 7? Well, we also have Gilded Goose, and Asika, and Cultivate. Alright, 7's probably fine. I think this is what we're going with.